Time for the Morning Watch with Reverend Dr. Dylan Toussaint. Today, the Morning Watch is brought to you by Educom Cooperative Credit Union. Value through service.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, digital transformation at the ECJ, effects and affects. In the second watch, update on the Tomlinson Bugrick case, now in court. For our social media question, we ask, what is your desired outcome of the Tomlinson Bugrick case now in court? We're asking you to share your responses on our Love 101 FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, and also on WhatsApp 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's our quote.
All right, today's I quote is an integrity quote. It says, if we don't change, we don't grow. If we don't grow, then we aren't really living. And this is by Gail Sheehy.
Okay, if we don't change, we don't grow.
And if we don't grow, we aren't really living.
We aren't really living. Good morning, Jukal.
Good morning, good morning.
A profound quotation there.
Definitely.
Change is important.
Definitely.
And we continue to grow from day to day as we live. But speaking about growing, Jukal, is next Sunday of special significance to you?
Yes, Sunday coming is actually my birthday. so I'm going to be growing.
Yes, from year to year.
That's right, that's right.
Every blessing when it comes, my brother.
Thank you so
to the
much.
max.
Yes, thank you so much.
Great. The first one should be back after this break.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
This is the Colgate Max Fresh Swing. 10 times longer. Lasting cool. Colgate Max Fresh. Healthy teeth brighter. Lasting cool. Colgate Max Fresh. Feel the freshness longer. Colgate Max Fresh. All right, my friends, it's time to try Colgate Max Fresh. What are you waiting for? Colgate Max Fresh.
Building your house and looking for everything in hardware from ground to roof? Save the hassle. It's Robinson and Sons Hardware, dedicated to giving you the best. Call Robinson and Sons Hardware 876-715-1724 or visit 18 West Palm Avenue, Port Antonio, Portland. If we don't have it, we'll get it for you. Robinson and Sons Hardware, Port Antonio, Portland, dedicated to giving you the best. 876-715-1724.
Make money now with local City and Guilds and ABE Endorsed Certificates and Distinction College. Start new online and face-to-face classes very soon. Make money now career courses and get qualified jobs worldwide or start your own business in practical pediatric, geriatric, and psychiatric nursing, phlebotomy and pharmacy technician, early childhood education, childcare, cashiering, call center, event planning, receptionist, customer service, housekeeping, laboring, food preparation, bartending, cake baking, plumbing, modern labor, electrical installation, air conditioning, makeup, hairdressing, nail technician, and cosmetology. No subject required, no age limit. Register this week and get City and Guilds Maths and English classes for free. Call us at 3564167.
Oh, every time I feel the rain, it feel like the money could have been better spent. More something from my own, more for turn the key in my own home. They make it so convenient when you contact the NHD. No matter your home ownership, boy, you can get a loan easily. If owning a home is what you want to do, NHD is here for delivering delivering more.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, the ECJ is undertaking major upgrades to its technology infrastructure as part of its thrust toward digital transformation. It isn't finished yet, but they have recently completed several improvements, including the installation of its upgraded biometric identification system. Now, what does this really mean? Well, to discuss this and related issues, we have joining us Mr. Glaspole Brown, Director of Elections from the ECJ. Good morning, Mr. Brown.
Good morning to you and your co-hosts and your listeners.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Great. Thanks for joining us this early in the morning. All right. First thing off the bat, what really is this digital transformation all about, and why is it regarded as being necessary at this time?
All right. In the sense that it's our focus as a release indicator is to basically to modernize and strengthen our IT infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Every year we do our strategic plan and we create our plans and our goals for the next 3 years to 5 years. And I must add also, given our recent expansion of our roles and our responsibility, as the country is aware that we have been assigned, and apart from just the electoral aspect of our mandate, we have now been assigned the role of the Inspectorate for NAIRA, which is the entity that will deal with NIDS. Therefore, we start to prepare ourselves and to modernize and strengthen our IT infrastructure. What it entails is a whole complete overhauling of our IT infrastructure. And we have started putting a number of things to upgrade in terms of including our storage area network, expanding our storage. We have, as you had alluded to in your opening remarks, we have now upgraded what we know as the ABIS, which is our automated biometrics identification system. And we have started to improve on the technology that you'll see us using in an election environment on election day. And there's a number of things that we'll be doing, preparing ourselves for what we see in terms of our future role. Bear in mind that we have to maintain the integrity of what we do, and to maintain in terms of the expectation of the wider public in terms of ensuring that we have free and fair elections.
Yeah. You mentioned a while ago, Mr. Brown, the automated biometric identification system. Is it ABIS? What
ABIS,
really is that, and what's your response? Well, tell us first what is that?
All right, what the ABIS does. Currently, we have what is known as AFIS, which is the Automated Fingerprint Identification System. They
Oh,
have improved on that now to what we call now the Automated Biometric Identification System. What it does is that in the past we normally compare the individual fingerprint. So we know two levels of comparison: the fingerprint and your facial image. So what this system does is that it compares.
Mr. Brown?
Might be aware, and your listeners should be aware. We are
I'm sorry,
one of the
I'm sorry, Mr. Brown. I didn't hear you for about a couple seconds. Could you repeat what you just said? After you mentioned facial image.
All right. So what this system does, as an improvement of what existed before, what the system does is allow us to compare every individual person's fingerprint and their facial image with the entire database. In our database, we have in excess of 2 million data sets. So what it does is that everybody who seeks to be registered, we compare their individual fingerprint and their facial image to ensure that we don't have any duplication in our system. Therefore, everybody who seeks to be registered can only be registered once in our database. So so that prevents any sort of duplication in terms of persons being on the list more than once. So that new system is an updated system. It allows us now to compare that individual fingerprint, as I said before, and their facial image with the entire 2 million plus image and fingerprint that we have in the system. And it's an improvement in that we are able to do that in a short period of time. I think the improvement in this new system allows us the processing speed now increased 4 times what existed before. So in other words, it allows us to be able to compare an individual fingerprint with at least 1 million fingerprints within a second.
Say a little bit more, please, on the facial image. Does that include retina scans and all of that?
No, just your not the retina scan, just the facial image, your photograph.
Oh, okay. And you know, we live in a pluralistic society. We live in a religious society. What's your response to those who regard such systems as associated with the Antichrist?
I don't necessarily want to get in a debate in terms of as it relates to that.
Just want to hear your view on that, Mr. Brown. How can you calm some of the concerns that people have?
What I would say though is that the main concern is whether or not an election is being run fairly. When it's being done in a transparent way, whether or not persons who are registered on the list or are only registered once and only have one vote as per what is allowed under the Constitution. And therefore, we have to find, as we improve on the digital sphere that we operate in, we have to find ways to ensure that we are able to deliver on that aspect of it. And therefore, as part of that process is using technology. And I don't know if I'm of the view, being a Christian also, I'm of the view that the good master gave us the capacity to think in terms of improving what we do. And therefore, he allowed us to improve on the use of technology.
Yes, because they're saying that all of this is pointing in one direction. You know, new world order, everything is now becoming digital and numeric in terms of people now being identified by numbers instead of names. All these are concerns that are out there, you know. So I just was wondering what's your take on it? How can you help persons to know that this is not to be feared?
Right. And I understand that fear. But that suffice to say, though, what we want to ensure that if Mary Jane is on the list, who is a Christian, etc., or non-Christian, whoever, that Mary Jane name is only on the list once, and therefore, when we seek to elect a government to govern our nation, that it is done in a fair way, that everybody is one man, one vote, and therefore we have to use the technology to improve. The manual system creates a lot of bottleneck in terms of the timeliness of being able to process persons on election day, and therefore we have to take advantage of the technology that allows us to speed up the process and to be more efficient in terms of what we do.
Will the electors have any choice in terms of this digital transformation, this biometric identification system? Will they have any choice? Can they say, no, we do not choose to be identified via that method? We prefer the old method, which has seemingly worked all of these years. We are going up on a break soon, Mr. Brown. Could you think about that, respond to that question? On the other side of the break, we'll have your response.
Play your part in helping us become rock solid and ready. For more information on the National Natural Disaster Risk Financing Policy, visit mof.gov.jm. The time by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is
7:15.
If you have financial needs, Christian Charles will fix them for you. Power in great moments since 1992. Oh, we have it all. Power in great moments. Relax, you got Christian Charles. Oh, we have it all. When you think alone, think Christian Charles.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with rats, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Every day I get bigger, every day I get better. I'm a star in that shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. Every step that I take, oh yeah. Feeling great cause I'm learning, yeah. I'm a star in that shimmer. Watch me grow, I'm a winner, yeah. La 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 la. Watch me grow with Alexa Plus.
Help support their mental development at this important stage with a unique combination of nutrients from Lacta Plus. This product is not intended to be a substitute for breast milk. From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&M Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jmbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&M Bank will help you find the way. Downswell Records in association with Best Dressed Chicken presents the Kevin Downswell album launch and concert featuring John Mark Wiggins, Sarge, Alicia Taylor, Shane Mays, DJ Reaper, DJ Sticko, Jermaine Cohen, and O'Neal Watson. Tickets $7,000, VIP $10,000 with preferred seating and food. SpurOpen.com/the album launch. Saturday, July 1, 5:30 p.m. The Ambassadors, 63 Hagley Park Road, Kevin Downswell. This is a Count Miss.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the first watch, we're looking on the digital transformation, which is happening at the ECJ. And in so doing, we have Mr. Glasspool Brown, Director of Elections, ECJ. Before the break, Mr. Brown, I was zeroing in on the automated biometric identification system as part of this transformation and asking if the electors will have a choice in terms of their using this medium. Your response, sir?
My response is twofold, right? We need to ensure that everybody who's registered on our system is only registered one time. And one of the easiest way for us to do that is to compare the fingerprints. Yeah, and you must remember, though, also that the current system that is acceptable by everybody requires for a cross-matching of the fingerprints. So that's an acceptable part of what exists now. Mm-hmm. What we do, in addition to that, what we're doing is basically comparing the photograph that you have on your ID. So
they don't have a choice.
It's not you don't have a choice in the sense that we need to ensure, and I said as part of our process, we want to ensure that everybody who is registered on it is only registered one time. And the best way to do that, to achieve that, is basically to compare the fingerprints. As you're aware, everybody have a unique fingerprint.
Yeah, but what's your response to those who are saying, if it's broke, if it's not broke, don't fix it? Over the years, the fingerprint has worked well. Jamaica is renowned for this, and persons feel uncomfortable with the facial addition to this process.
To allay the fear, though, the fingerprint aspect of it remains the major plank of what we do in terms of the comparison. But what I'm saying that all the new system is an upgrade in terms of comparing your photograph that you have on your ID card. So you have allowed us to take your photographs. You have allowed us to take your fingerprint. And what we're doing is that enhancement of our security. And I think every elector should be comfortable that nobody is on the list voting for them in their name, in another name. So it's a comfort level, I think, and that still exists, and it's so much different from what currently exists. It's an upgrade that allows us to process the data much faster, much quicker, etc., etc.
Yes. So far, I believe, and in the press release that I read last week, much of it, or if not all of it, focused on the pros, the positive aspects. Are there any cons, any downside to this development?
Well, the downside would be more. I don't. We have done our work. We have done our evaluation, and it is a system that is being used worldwide in terms of registration of electors across the world. So for us, there's no major downside to it. The only downside would be from the administrative side in terms of the technology breaking down, etc., being some external matters, etc. But in terms of what we want to achieve, and I said before, it's a system that is used worldwide, and we have done our evaluation, and we are comfortable with it.
And also the potential of hacking. How will that be addressed? Because we are hearing about hacking even in government-related systems now.
Right. What we have started doing, we have paid a lot of emphasis in terms of cybersecurity. We have done a number of things. I don't necessarily want to go into details what we are doing at the ECJ in terms of our cybersecurity, but suffice to say, though, at the comfort level, that we're doing a number of things. We are training staff in terms of every member of staff has to go and undergo frequent cybersecurity training. We have done a number of putting firewalls. We have done a number of upgrades, etc., in terms of our systems, etc. So we are doing a number of things. We are quite conscious of the fact of the potential threat that the whole cyber atmosphere creates. And we're doing a number of things, but I don't necessarily want to go in details. More so in terms of want to ensure that nobody is not aware of what we're doing. More from a protection point, but suffice to say that we that a major focus of the organization to ensure, again, bear in mind that we have a significant amount of data in our database.
And how will this be? How will this development be impacted by the Data Protection Act?
The Data Protection Act, again, that's another major focus for us, because we have started a process now of implementing what we need to do to ensure we become compliant under the Act, certainly before December this year. And we have to abide by in terms of ensuring the privacy and the security of persons' personal data, and therefore this again allows us to assist as part of the process as we do a number of things to protect that data we have to ensure, as I said before, in terms of the security and the privacy of personal data. So at EOJ, we have started a program. We have started an implementation program, very active one that is going on, and we have set certain timelines and certain target dates, and we hope to become compliant on the Act before the end of December this year.
How was the the system provider chosen?
As part of the other government entity, it was chosen under the whole procurement policy and guidelines of the government of Jamaica. We went for international tender, which include local and overseas. And coming out of that, we did our evaluation. We got the necessary approval from the Public Procurement Commission, and also we got approval from cabinet. So it took a while. We triggered the procurement guidelines and the procurement policy of the government of Jamaica. And coming out of that international competitive bidding process, the provider was selected.
And so is it that it should have at least 3 such in the companies as part of the procurement procedure?
Yeah. We opened it to international tender, so therefore it was open to everybody, both local and international, to tender. I think the response we got about 5 responses, if I remember correctly, to the tender, and then we started the evaluation process. But the process was open. There's an open process.
This was advertised publicly, Mr. Brown?
That's correct. Advertised locally in our local press. It was advertised internationally. So as I said before, it's an international tender.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it was widely advertised. It was we went on the GOJ platform, electronic procurement platform. So it was widely advertised across the world.
How much will this cost Jamaica, Mr. Brown?
It's a significant amount of money in terms of the upgrade, and I guess there's a view which I share that democracy does not. You can put a finite cost on democracy to ensure that we have free and fair election. It's in excess of $200+ million.
200, over $200 million.
Jamaican dollars, yes.
Jamaican dollars. Okay. And what are we looking at in terms of a startup date when everything is all systems go?
We are now doing the implementation. We have well advanced. Our target date to have the thing up and ready, complete training of people, etc. By the middle of July.
This year?
This year, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you're far gone in terms of this implementation transformation.
That's correct.
Yes.
So we, again, as I said earlier on, there are a number of things that is on the horizon that we have to ensure that our system is modernized, or our infrastructure is in place. We appreciated the possibility in short order that we might have 3 major elections. Local government election might be coming up early next year. Then they have the general election that is scheduled for 2025, and there's a possibility that we might have a referendum. So there are a number of things that is on the horizon that we need to ensure that, certainly in terms of our infrastructure and what we have in place, is fully modernized and is prepared to deal with what is to come.
And we know that from time to time the ECJ is used for other elections, whether political parties. Also, I think major organizations in Jamaica. Will this automated biometric identification system be a part of those processes?
That aspect of it does not impact on them as such, because they each, the local bodies, for example, the Civil Service Association we did recently, the Police Federation we did recently, and we're about to do the JS election. So they have their own criteria in terms of how while we manage the process, we are guided by their constitution. We abide by their rules and as it relates to the election. So this system does not necessarily directly impact on their election, but there are other aspects of our work that impact on them. For example, in the civil service election that we used recently, we introduced to them what we call a tabulator. What it does is that it's an electronic way to count your vote. What we will use in those elections is a scanning system that allows everybody, as soon as you vote, your vote is scanned. Therefore, we're able to give, as soon as the poll closes, within 15 minutes, we're able to tell you the result. So we are doing these things for long term, in terms of our long term vision, in terms of how we gotta move the whole electoral process to let it to be a bit more efficient. So while the ABs might not be directly impacting on their local those grouping elections, certain other things that we are doing in the EOJ impacts on their election.
Yes, and we have less than a minute. Can you quickly walk us through how will that be different for the electoral process for Jamaica generally?
Which one? The one that we are testing with those?
Yes, the system now, the automated system. Generally, it will be speedier. Will it be quicker that we get the results and everything?
It will ultimately, that we want to go, and certainly in terms of the registration, the main aspect of the ABIS, it impacts more on the registration aspect of it.
Okay, all right.
And in terms of the creation of that list.
Great. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Glasspool Brown, for joining us. Informative and interesting. All the best going forward as you look forward to the coming elections.
Thank you.
All right. Great. The Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
JN Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Bank Small Business Loans is
7:31.
Well, if you want buy appliances for your home with the quality high and the price low, get it on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco. Bashco. Be everything where you need. Bashco. Quality service guaranteed on a Bashco. Get it on a Bashco. Yeah, Bashco. Furniture for your house, and everything for your kitchen, rooms, and more at Bashco. The store that gives you more. Bashco.
Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
Do you have a heart condition? Your care should be in the hands of our experienced cardiovascular team at Partners Interventional Center of Jamaica. We're one of the leading heart centers for angiogram, stenting, pacemakers, EP studies, and ablation therapy. PICJ has the expertise and latest technology to treat all your heart needs. Call 876-995-7425 or email info@pic-jm.com for appointments. PICJ, your partners for life. Faith Dream Ministries, Sunset Road, Greenville, Mandeville. Convention 2023 under the theme The Hunger and Thirst That Results in Transformation. Keynote speakers Bishop Arthur Grant, Bishop Terence Gay, under the big blue and white tent on the church grounds opposite Ward Avenue, Winston Jones Highway. Zoom ID 856-0107-7842 and on YouTube. Sunday, July 2, 10 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Monday and Tuesday, July 3 and 4, 7 p.m. Come with your goals, participate, and leave empowered. Downswell Records, in association with Best Dressed Chicken, presents the Kevin Downswell album launch and concert featuring John Mark Wiggins, Sarge, Alicia Taylor, Shane Mays, DJ Reaper, DJ Sticker, Jermaine Cohen, and O'Neal Watson. Tickets $7,000, VIP $10,000 with preferred seating and food. StarOpen.com/the album launch. Saturday, July 1, 5:30 p.m. The Ambassadors, 63 Hadley Park Road, Kevin Downswell. This is a Can't Miss.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, Trelawney man charged with human trafficking, false imprisonment of woman. Also in the Gleaner, Carl Hill, from gangster to writer. That should be interesting. In the Observer, salty, gritty tap water has residents of Uruguay's capital fuming as drought empties reservoir. Wow. Also in the Observer, no charge, no jail. Government finally tables legislation to end the practice of placing uncontrollable children in lockup. And then in Loop News, crime still a big challenge for Jamaicans. Don Anderson poll, hot issue of corruption ranked 4th among the top 5 issues cited by respondents. And then finally in Loop News, hundreds bid farewell to consummate corporate citizen Lascelles Chin, and condolences to his family and relatives and employees. Coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our social media question. What is your desired outcome of the Tomlinson-Buggery case now in court? What is your desired outcome of the Tomlinson-Buggery case, which is now in court? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page and YouTube channel, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for another exciting Joins Out Alive 1 to 5 this Throwback Thursday, June 29? Well, join me, your host, Sarah, and the Chirpy One for another time to recollect and to reconnect. Stay tuned for the brain testing Menticize at 1:45. Then prayer blast will be at 2 o'clock as we ring in the prayer bells of heaven. 2:15 inside Pieces of the Past, we share with you on the parish of St. Mary. Then at 3 p.m., we bring you another Memory Lane episode of Make We Talk. All this and more will come alive from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. This Throwback Thursday, June 29, on the family station, Love 101, celebrating 30 years of music, family, and love.
Love 101, I do it again. And the place to be this Saturday is in Port Maria in the parking lot of Giant Supermarket and at the Rubis gas station. Yes, it's the I Love Summer Road Tour. And the second stop will be this Saturday, July 1. Show up for the love and fun galore. Love around the place hot. Games I keep, giveaways I keep, and enough music I keep with DJ Noy, Ruth Shireen, and more. It's the Love 101 FM 30th Anniversary I Love Summer Celebration. Yo, you can't afford to miss this Saturday, July 1, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Port Maria, roll out. Niceness again.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's now join Jokal for a look at how our Facebook and YouTube WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What is your desired outcome of the Tomlinson-Buggery case now in court? Jokal?
All right, so I have some responses here on our WhatsApp line. Monica says that the offense of buggery remains on the Jamaican law books. I know that's what she thinks. Edna sent also a voice message. Let's listen to what she has to say today.
Good morning, Morning Watch. Good morning, Love 101 listeners and staff. My desired outcome for this buggery case is that I will see justice prevail at its best.
And that voice message from Edna. Thank you so much to all those who responded.
All right. Desire for the law to remain on the books.
Yes.
And for justice to be done. All right. Thank you very much for those who responded. Now, as we segue into the second watch, the case being referred to as the Tomlinson-Buggery case has been back in court all week so far. And it's a long-running battle between Mr. Tomlinson and the Attorney General as a defendant in the matter, while the churches Hear the Children's Cry, Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, and Lawyers Christian Fellowship Limited are involved as interested parties. Now, there are many, many moving parts, which some of us may not understand or even know about. And to discuss the issues and implications arising from this case, we have joining us in this, the second watch, Mr. Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law. Good morning, Mr. Wilkins.
Good morning to you and your listeners.
Great. Thanks for joining us this morning again, sir.
My pleasure.
Can you remind us, Mr. Wilkins, of what the aforementioned case is really all about?
Yes, the background to this case is that there is a worldwide movement among persons who practice homosexuality or the gay lifestyle and their supporters to remove from the legislation in various countries what is known as a buggery law.
Mm-hmm.
It started up north, Europe, North America, and it has now come into the Caribbean and other places where persons file lawsuits to have that particular law, the buggery law, removed from the law books. So in the local case, which was brought about 5 years ago, Mr. Maurice Tomlinson complained and sues the state, the Attorney General, saying that his right as a gay person, a homosexual, are being infringed. His right to privacy, his right to family life, his right to equality, and so forth, is taken away from him. And he has no equality with other persons who do not practice his type of lifestyle. And he wants the offenses against the Persons Act, namely Section 76, which sets out the offense of buggery, Section 77 of the same law, which deals with attempts to commit buggery, and Section 79, which deals with gross indecency, to be removed from the law books on the basis that they are unconstitutional. So other persons were brought in, which you mentioned, the churches, which is a collection of various church organizations. Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society is another party as an interested party. Lawyers Christian Fellowship Limited and Hear the Children Cry. Those are what is termed interested parties. They were not sued. It is the Attorney General on behalf of the state that was sued. The matter came to the court, and there were certain matters that were dealt with to deal with who are the parties. The public defender sought to be involved as an interested party, but that was not granted by the court. And recently, about 2 or 3 years ago, the Attorney General took a legal point to say that if you have laws existing before the Charter of Fundamental Rights came into being in 2011, then those laws are safe. So the argument is that the buggery law was a law existing just before the Charter for Fundamental Rights came into being, and therefore, by virtue of what is known as a saving laws clause, those laws come over into the new dispensation under the Constitution, and therefore those laws, which may be old and archaic, are safe and therefore are valid and will persist until the legislature or parliament change them or remove them from the law books. So that is the legal point that it has been raised by the Attorney General for the state, and the court has ordered a discussion before the Constitutional Court to say whether or not the Savings Law Clause prevents this matter of inquiry into the constitutionality of those sections I mentioned, the Buggery Law, should be inquired into. So therefore, the claimant, Mr. Morris Tomlinson, can go forward with a substantive matter, which is
all right.
The constitutional rights being infringed.
Yeah, stick a pin right there, Mr. Wilkins. We are up on a break. We'll be right back.
Sardine for the chef and the beginner. Follow the pan with pepper, that are the winner. Shop on supermarkets, everybody selling
sardines. Follow the better flavor.
The time is
7:45 and 40 seconds.
Has it ever happened to you that you're scrolling on social media, spending the afternoon, and suddenly you accidentally give your crush a like? Don't get heated. Cool off with a Sprite. Share and leave them a direct message. Who knows? They might even answer you. Sprite.
At Flow, we are determined to get it right. Now, over 60% of Jamaica has access to our fiber fast network, with over 800 communities being upgraded since 2020. And there's more to come. Everything we're doing is inspired by our harshest critic, you. Join Jamaica's Fiber Fast network and rediscover Flow today. Educom does it again with the mega car loan sale. 100% financing, interest rate of 6.95% and up to 10 years to repay. Hurry now and visit any of our 9 branches. Call Educom at 876-926-6973 or WhatsApp 876-559-7575 for more info. Educom Cooperative Credit Union Limited. Value through service.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Importers. Shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint, and in this, the second watch, we are having what I regard as an informative, in-depth discussion on the Tomlinson Buggery case, so-called, which is now in court. And in so doing, we have online Mr. Wendell Wilkins, attorney at law, who has been feeding us the information, giving us the background, and will tell us even more. Before you continue, Mr. Wilkins, can you remind us of what the Buggery law really states?
Yes, it says Buggery, which we understand to be anal sex, must not be done by male or female. That is what Section 76 focuses on. And then the other section, which is Section 77, deals with attempts to do what is called burglary. And
the punishment for that, if
yes,
found guilty,
burglary is a term not exceeding 10 years.
How many?
10 years.
Okay.
And the attempt is 7 years, not exceeding 7 years.
And again, to reiterate, it states both male and female.
Yes, it does. And I must say that Mr. Tomlinson's application is not to remove the entire burglary law. He's saying that persons aged 16 and over consenting into that kind of lifestyle in privacy should not be an offense. So he's not asking for the entire burglary law to be removed, but consenting persons 16 and over.
Yes.
So the matter before the court is not that substantial matter as to whether it's constitutional rights, which we mentioned are being infringed. But the narrow point taken by the state, the Attorney General, that this law has been saved, and therefore, when the fundamental rights came into being in 2011, it was saved and it is existing law and remains existing law. And therefore, that clause in the Constitution prevents the court from inquiring into the constitutionality of those sections that Mr. Tomlinson is complaining about. So that is what is before the court.
And as you mentioned,
Mr. Tomlinson is saying, listen, if the law has been changed, then there's no protection or any saving anymore. So he's arguing that the Sexual Offences Act and regulations, which created a sexual offense registry and register where sex offenders are to register and they are monitored and so forth, is a change in the law. In other words, it's a change in the burglary law, and therefore it has not remained the same and has changed, and therefore the saving law clause does not apply anymore. That is his argument.
What are the updates in regards to this case? How have things been going so far? What are the highlights and lowlights, as you know?
Well, the important point that is being argued vigorously is that one side, that is the Attorney General on behalf of the state, and the interested parties are saying that the offense of burglary and the attempt and gross indecency has not changed. It wasn't changed by the Sexual Offences Law, which tries to put into law now a new development, which is sex offenders will have to be registered and be monitored and so forth. Because the law is that if you change the existing law, then you will not have the protection of the saving law clause. So that is the big argument in the Constitutional Court, which has sitting 3 judges, not 1 judge, but 3, because it's a constitutional point being argued.
So is there any significance to the fact that there are 3 judges?
Yes, the constitutional matters are heard by 3 judges because of the importance of the Constitution. It is the foundation of our democracy, and therefore, because constitutional matters are heavy and weighty matters that will affect the citizens widely, it is heard by 3 judges.
What do you regard as the worst and best case scenarios coming out of this case, Mr. Wilkins?
Well, I wouldn't classify it as worse or better, but what happens is that if Mr. Maurice Tomlinson succeeds with his legal point that he's taking, that the saving law clause doesn't apply, in other words, that burglary law is not saved and is not protected by the constitutional provision that it ought not to be inquired into because it is consistent with the provisions of the Constitution. Then the substantive matter that he wants to get to say is privacy law, privacy rights are being infringed, is equality rights, family, and so forth, discrimination, principles set out in the Constitution are being infringed, and therefore the burglary law needs to be struck down as it exists. That will come before the court for final determination. So it is a process of determining constitutional rights, and therefore it is not really, high points or low points or good points as such.
So it's possible that
fundamental right.
It's possible that out of this case, the law could be struck off the books.
Yes, well, there are two ways, The Constitution provides for Parliament itself to say, listen, we don't like this burglary law. People who want to practice homosexuality in private, it is their business and they should be free to do so and not be prosecuted.
Well, you mentioned homosexuality, but remember now it goes both ways. It could be, as I understand it, between heterosexuals in the privacy of their room.
It could apply too, right?
Yes.
So any activity of that nature would be struck out, and a new law passed which says people in their private life are okay to practice that lifestyle. There is another view to say we don't agree and the law should remain as is. So there is a contention that is strong in the Jamaican society regarding this matter of burglary.
What should Christians and other like-minded individuals be doing as this case continues in the court right now?
Well,
what can and should
their
you
major
be doing?
role based upon their Christian belief is to pay attention to what is happening in the court, edify themselves as to what is happening, and as persons of faith, they are expected to follow what is in the Bible, and there are Bible passages that say that kind of activity or lifestyle ought not to be done. So one expects them to follow that line. And there's also the question of health. Some persons have raised that question of health and so forth. And
health, what do you mean? Someone that one. Yeah. Not following you there.
Yeah, some people say it's an unhealthy practice.
Okay.
And therefore they raise that too as why they are against that kind of activity.
Yes.
So there's a legal aspect to it, which is what is before the court, and there is the matter of what should be one's lifestyle based upon moral or religious grounds in the background or healthy lifestyle beliefs.
Mention was made in the preamble, and I think you confirmed it and affirmed it, that Hear the Children's Cry, Jamaica Coalition for Healthy Society, Loyal Christian Fellowship Limited are involved as interested parties. What does that entail?
It means that they are not a party sued, but they have shown the court a sufficient interest in the proceedings, the outcome, and they can also show individually that they can make a contribution to assist the court in making a true and proper determination of the issues, the legal and constitutional issues before the court.
But they have standing in the court procedure every day?
They were given standing. They weren't there initially. It was only Mr. Maurice Tomlinson against the Attorney General, but they came in by court order because the court made an order that they are sufficiently interested in the outcome of the court's decision, and also they can contribute something to the deliberation.
And that's been done. So far, that's been done. They have been vocal.
Yes, they have participated, and they support the Attorney General's position on the matter.
And you used to mention the public defender. was not allowed?
Yes, the public defender.
On what grounds?
Made the law that governs the public defender's involvement in legal matters in the court. The court rule did not permit them to go so far as being involved in this kind of proceeding. You know, the public defender law really gives them an interest.
Yes, we have to
follow matters where public authorities and agencies.
We have to leave it there, Mr. Wilkins. Thank you so very much for informing us.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Yes, informing us, and more and on, we continue to
indeed
to look and to see and listen to what is happening. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information, we'll get copies of this program. Call our production department at 876-968-9596-7. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and our guests. Please join Mr. Stokely Marshall next week as he continues to look at the issues of the day. I'm Dallin Toussaint, giving a shout-out to the pastor and members of the Monique Circuit of Baptist Churches in St. Anne as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Jukal Dyer and his birthday on Sunday.
The Morning Watch is brought to you today by Educom Cooperative Credit Union, value through service.